Somos Te lo cuento News.
Este espacio es gracias a
Old Havana Market, un pedacito de Cuba en Gladstone. La mesa, sabor bien nuestro.
CM Gift and Petty,
Abogado Hugo Martínez.
Huertas Cleaning Service,
US Bank.
Tome control de su caso. Llámeme hoy.
The program that you will have here today, you will be talking about organization sustainability, how we'll be able to move forward. And we listened in the sessions early today about in many cases we are 20 step back. So what do you want to tell to these organizations that we are a struggle? That even if they have financial plans, if they have a strategic plan, how do you think they can be resilient for what the environment that we have right now?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. One, in this moment, it's important to not recreate the wheel. It's important to really learn from each other. It's important to lean on other organizations, other partners. It's important to be candid and vulnerable. Because every organization is facing some strife, some setback, some concern, whether it's budgetary, whether it's their communities are being terrorized, or both. In most cases, it's both. So the one is just lean into the collective. Everyone's feeling this. And so the second part of that is there are resources that other folks may have that you don't. And there's a little bit of sharing, and that's hard for organizations. That's really hard because it's saying that, hey, I don't have this, I need your help. And so that's where the vulnerability comes in, because more than ever with civil society, you have corporations, philanthropy, government. It's a little unsteady right now. So the more that organizations, community-based organizations, can collaborate, share resources, and even just share tactics, that's going to come a long way as we start to see where other pieces come into play. So that's one.
So in your position, one of the, and I will talk to maybe the biggest organizations, more the local organizations. These small ones, they have high impact in the community,
Yep.
but also depend a lot in these numbers that they show up. And we have a communities right now, they are feared to show off, they are afraid to participate, they are afraid to give information, What do you can tell them then, because you say don't reinvent the wheel, but in the same time, to try to figure out how to present in whatever way that they will be more disconnections? Do you think can be maybe more open to the situations, or do you believe organizations in general, they will be, their support will be understand these realities?
We've talked a lot about how what we're seeing now is when COVID first hit, and how organizations had to quickly pivot on how they actually support communities. Folks who are looking to sign up for or get their Medicaid or get their SNAP or the food bank, or even just coaching, housing counseling. And so if we recall, it seems like a long time ago, but when COVID hit, everyone was backpedaling. What do we do? But people pivoted. People pivoted virtually. They came up with creative ideas. And so while this is a different type of situation, even over Zoom or even over virtual, I think people are scared. It's a lot of awareness right now because there's a lot of disinformation out there. And so what can you do? How do you go about doing it? Leaving your house, going to the grocery store. The other thing is that we're facing something where we have no idea what's going to happen. And so if someone says, I'm afraid to go out or drop my kid off at school or go get the services at the local community-based organization, we don't know the realities on the ground. We don't know what law enforcement may or may not be doing. And so we have to be very resilient, and we have to be very studious in that sense. And that's where, going back to my first part, is that collective, right? Organizations might already be part of collectives in their backyard, But that's where there needs to be that even reinforced collective, so that there's eyes and ears on the ground, where folks are talking to one another, and they're able to then communicate it out to their constituents.
My last question came for exactly what you say, disinformation. And in this situation, we have in your panel a very great examples how to try help our Latino communities in general. How do you think in this plan of sustainability, local media organizations could be able to connect and be able to help in this disinformation days happen, thinking that they are also in their own troubles,
right,
and they maybe not. But how do you think after we hear the panel?
Well, first, I'm a big local media. I sit on the board of an organization, a nonprofit news media's organization. So even before all this, as you said, local media was under attack. There wasn't the resources, it was politicized. So in this moment, you throw that on top of everything else that's going on. I think it's around who is the trusted messenger in this case. It's a difficult question because people consume media in so many different ways. I was talking to someone earlier who was saying that Latinos are over-indexed users of social media, over-indexed users of YouTube, particularly, Instagram, WhatsApp, particularly WhatsApp, and even Facebook. Like my mom, so lo que usa is Facebook, and so it's being nimble. And I think we heard it earlier, and I really truly believe this. We can't perfect be the enemy. We can't perfect be the enemy of progress. And so for media organizations getting out there and filming and doing the things, and even if it's raw, I know it's hard for a lot of media organizations to have it be raw, but that's what we need to do right now. And frankly, leaning on community members. So I think in this moment, as possible, media outlets should almost, if possible, work like a community-based organization.
And in many cases, the Latino media are the community-based organization.
Exactly. So how are you going to wherever people congregate and building that trust? Because they might trust you as a consumption vehicle, but they may not trust you as someone they see on the ground. But imagine if you had that dual trust, that would come a long way. So that's my 2 cents on what local media can help. But and it's about finding people to also share it out. Who are those trusted messengers in the community? So it's la abuelita, it's el pastor, or whoever it is. Those are the folks that will be critical to this.
Thank you so much for that.
Este espacio es gracias a
Old Havana Market, un pedacito de Cuba en Gladstone. La mesa, sabor bien nuestro.
CM Gift and Petty,
Abogado Hugo Martínez.
Huertas Cleaning Service,
US Bank.
Tome control de su caso. Llámeme